What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Andrew's Reptile Arc. I'm Andrew, and this week we're going to do a video on our Tegus, a good pet reptile. I'm Andrew Edwards. I've spent most of my life learning about animals. And now, focusing on education, breeding, care, and the discovering of new animals. Welcome to Andrew's Reptile Arc. So in this video, we're going to be going over are Tegus a good pet reptile, and for the most part, yes they are. They're fantastic animals, good temperament, get to a pretty good impressive size. And their setup and cage is not that bad as long as you don't have a space restriction. But we're going to be covering all those topics in more detail in this video, so stick around. So the first topic we're going to be discussing is animal size. As you can see, Bowser here is 44 inches long, and Tegus roughly get about 48 inches, maybe a little bit over that, but that's a pretty big animal. And you can see he's a big boy. He's 15 pounds, which is pretty big reptile. These guys are heavy-bodied monitors, and they're pretty active too. So if you're considering getting a Tegu, that's something you have to be prepared for. These guys don't stay small and cute forever. They do get pretty big. So the second topic, this guy is pretty big. Tegus are active, so of course they need a big cage. So a 40-gallon, although it will work when they're younger, it won't work when they get to this size. As you can see, he's big. It's not going to work when he's an adult size, so you basically have to custom make something. In this case, we have a wood enclosure. I see some people using PVC enclosures. That will work too. Some people use grow tents, but I'm really not a fan of those because they are kind of an eyesore to look at. They're not really easy to see your animal all the time. They don't have glass on them. You can use that too. Some people use them, but I prefer actually using wood enclosures. You can custom make them to your exact size if necessary, and it's really not even that hard. This one behind me is 6 feet by 4 feet. Now that's pretty good for an adult male Tegu. Bowser is an adult male, so they get a bit bigger than females, but even for a female, 4 by 6 is a pretty good size. We do take him out and let him walk around the main floor, or let him walk around here while we're home. So it's really just to occupy him during the day when we're out. He gets all the exercise he needs when he's outside of his enclosure, so it's a pretty good size for him. If you wanted to keep him in there permanently and never let him out for whatever reason, I would suggest going a bit bigger, maybe 4 by 8. That's a more appropriate size. I know it's only 2 feet, but it will make a difference when he's walking around all the time. He'll get a lot more exercise. We also do take him outside so he can venture out and have a little bit of mental stimulation outside. He does get the ability to go outside when it's warm out and actually venture out and explore more. So if you guys have a space requirement or a space restriction, maybe this isn't the best animal for you if you live in a tight apartment or don't have that much room to dedicate to a big animal like this. So you have to consider that when getting a Tegu. They will grow, and their enclosures will grow too, so you got to be aware of that. Big enclosure is definitely something that is a must for these guys. That's something absolutely you have to consider when getting a Tegu. For the next one, and pretty much all reptile species, heating and lighting is something you will absolutely need. There's no way around it. These guys are big-boned reptiles, so they will need a lot of heat and UVB to keep healthy. He actually has, and I'll post a video, or a little snippet right here, of his basking area. Now this is a pretty big area, and actually requires 2 heat bulbs. A lot of viewers that have reptiles will know the bigger your reptile, the bigger the basking area. And the way to do that is to get more lights spread over that area so it's not focused on one beam. If you have one light or one hot light bulb, it will burn his back and it'll scar it, or her if you have a female, and that will never heal. That scarring will be there permanently. So you need to spread that light over more area, and your lizard can actually stretch out and enjoy the full basking area of this bulb, or these 2 bulbs, or 3 if you want to get a bigger area. The more bulbs you add, the bigger the area of the basking platform. If you want to learn more about heating and lighting, we did do a video on that, so you can go check out that video. It'll answer all the questions, but UVB heating, absolute necessity. That pretty much goes with any reptile. You'll need that. I don't know if that's a pro or a con for you, but it's definitely something to consider when getting a Tegu. Our next topic is humidity. Now, humidity can be controlled. We have it here with a fogger, which I'll post a video on, or an ultrasonic humidifier if you want to get technical. And it's hooked up to a controller that monitors the humidity 24/7, so we don't have to, and adds the right amount of humidity when it needs it. Bowser back here comes from a tropical environment, so they have to deal with high humidity. Now, high humidity is sometimes hard for some people because they don't want to invest the money into creating the correct environment with humidity. They just don't want to deal with humidity in general. They just want to deal with a dry environment. That's definitely not the animal for you. These guys do like high humidity within the 80 or 75 to 85 range. So you do want to have a controller. You don't want to be missing an enclosure this size down. It's going to get to be way too much of a pain. Get a controller, spend the money, and you will thank me for it later. So that's something. If humidity doesn't bother you, Bowser's going for a swim. So if humidity doesn't bother you, then definitely get a Tegu. That's not really a downside for me, so I don't think it's a negative or a positive. I think it's just information that you need to know. Another subtopic for humidity, another way to keep up humidity in an enclosure, put a giant water dish like this in the enclosure. As you can see, Bowser is trying to get in there. And right now he's drinking out of that, so a large water dish will do 2 things. Allow your animal enough water to drink and you don't have to change it very often. 2, increase the humidity in the enclosure so that you don't have to deal with your fogger, your mister running all the time. So that will definitely help. So that's definitely something you guys can consider when setting up an enclosure like this. I wanted to take a few seconds to talk about negatives right in the middle of this video so that you guys can kind of see the other side of owning a Tegu. I've talked about a lot of pros or maybe cons depending on your side of it, but definitely some negatives with these guys. These guys are pricey to buy, first of all, and second of all, to setting up these giant enclosures full of wood, expensive lighting that he just sneezed. Expensive lighting, bulbs that you're gonna have to switch out constantly. UVB bulbs don't last forever. So it is a big price tag. Food is another one. They do eat a lot of food. Big animals eat a lot of food, obviously. So you have to have a open budget for them, and don't think you're gonna be saving very much on money. You can't really do this in a cheap way. The next downside is Tegus have the ability to hurt you, whether they want to or not. They are big, powerful animals. Their bites can hurt if they're not socialized correctly. You push them too far. Tegus aren't known to bite. They can bite. They have really sharp teeth. They have different sized teeth in their mouth, so they can hurt you with that bite. You see this cheek right here? That's all muscle. And Tegus have an ability to hold on to prey and crush prey. So you don't want to be in the receiving end of that mouth. They do get kind of big mouths and don't want to get bit. But that's unlikely to happen. What is likely to happen, and what will happen, let me get them. Look at these claws. Now, they won't do it on purpose, but these guys will scratch you. And I've been scratched countless times. These guys are thick, they are strong, and these claws, by no means are they sharp, but when they have that power behind them, they can cut you. I have so many cuts all over my arms from just filming today. Look at that. That's like an inch long claw. And they don't mean to. They're just trying to climb on you. They're trying to explore. But it will hurt a bit. And the more they struggle, the more they're going to latch on. And the more it's going to hurt. The next topic we kind of touched on is food. Now, these guys will eat feeder rats, mice. They'll eat fish. They'll eat pretty much anything that you put into their mouths. They are omnivores, so they'll eat pretty much anything. You can feed them vegetables, fruit. I've heard some eat nuts in the wild. I don't feed them nuts, but you can, I guess. But mostly meat. I know a lot of you watch my videos, you like me feeding Bowser. He has a good feeding response, and some have even more of a feeding response than him. He's sitting up there sunbathing. So food is something that needs to be talked about. When they're younger, chicken hearts are fantastic for them as a supplement. They'll get your Tegu nice and big, nice and quick. So feed them that when they're younger. You can slice them apart so that they can fit into their mouths. But at this size, they take down like a whole package. So if feeder rats and mice freak you out, definitely not the animal for you. You should go to a more herbivore type lizard and just deal with plant matter or crickets if that doesn't freak you out. So that's definitely a plus if you don't mind that. Definitely get a Tegu if you don't mind it. If you do, unfortunately, it might not be the animal for you. There's no way around it. So the next topic is enrichment. Now, you can have these guys playing with toys. You could put dog balls in there. You can take them out and let them explore. But these guys are going to be more of a mental enrichment versus a playing enrichment. You won't really see them playing with stuffed animals. Do not put a stuffed animal in there. That's a bad idea. I don't even know why I said that. That's a terrible idea. Mostly, you can take them out and let their minds kind of explore the area. That's what more of an enrichment is to a Tegu. A dog ball works too, like I said. As long as it's big enough for them that they're not going to swallow it, then you're probably good. So we take Bowser outside, let him roam around the house, let him interact with some of the other animals. There's obviously glass between them. We also take him outside and let him explore outside on a harness and leash, like some of you guys have seen our other videos, so that gives him more mental enrichment. Enrichment, very short, but take your animal out when he's ready and let him explore, and then bring him back to his cage when you're done. Maybe feed him a little bit so he's actually kind of has a positive interaction. That's what I did. So every time he went out, he explored a little bit, and when he came back in quietly or properly, then he got a treat, so he knows it's more of a positive experience than a negative one. So now, the real reason why you guys started watching this video. We're going to be talking about temperament and handling these guys. Tegus actually really enjoy human interaction. And you can see a lot of videos about them interacting with their owners. And they're not really scared to do that. They will warm up to you eventually. When they're younger, they are a little timid and a little skittish. But eventually, when they become about 3 years old, they will start warming up like Bowser is right here. He's smelling me. Not a lot of fear going on. I can talk to you guys and not really watch him. That's something that you build with your animal. It's trust. It's a bond, just like your dog. And you will get it to a point where you can pick these guys up and they really don't care. The only problem is Tegus don't like being that high off the ground. They like being close to the ground and they feel more secure that way. So holding a big lizard like this above the ground, you're going to get a lot of flailing, a lot of heavy breathing, but that's totally natural. It's more of a relationship where it's close to the ground. You can pet them all that you want, and they're not really going to do anything if you raise them correctly. Now, when he was growing up, I spent a lot of time with him, sitting down here, interacting with him, and really forming a bond, talking to him, and that's how you guys will interact with your Tegu on a more personal level. So when handling these guys, you also have to keep in mind they're big animals, so those claws are going to hurt, like we covered earlier on in this video. So just be aware of that while you guys are handling your Tegu. They don't mean to hurt you, but it will happen when handling. A lot of people get Tegus because they see them like this, and then they really want them. So that's definitely one of the best pet lizards you can get, or bigger pet lizards. Other reptiles like bearded dragons, leopard geckos are just as personable as Tegus, but obviously don't get as big, not as impressive. So if you want a big, impressive lizard that is tame if you put the time in, Tegu is definitely the right animal for you. So that's the end of our video. We've packed a lot of information in here. Hopefully you guys can now decide if you really want a Tegu, and a lot of ins and outs of actually owning a reptile like this. They are very rewarding pets, but they require a lot of time, effort, but definitely you will get an amazing lizard out of it. These guys are really one of my favorite animals. There's really no other lizard like them. I love them. You guys will hopefully love them. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of all these points. Are you guys gonna get a Tegu after this? Let me know. And don't forget to check out our other channels, Instagram and TikTok. And I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.